Good morning. Today we're going to be talking about y equals mx plus b form to find slope, x-intercept, and y-intercept of a line. So what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be transforming linear equations from a different format to a y equals mx plus b, and we're going to be graphing it using the Desmos calculator. So first, before we start with our work today, we're going to find the Desmos calculator. We're going to Google Desmos calculator star version, and it is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put it, and then the graphing calculator is right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to be doing two things. We're going to be finding what y equals mx plus b format is. Once we find y equals mx plus b format, then after that we are going to be finding out the slope, we're going to be finding out the x-intercept, and we are going to be finding out the y-intercept. So let us get started. So we have an equation that is y equals negative 5 halves minus 5, and remember that your y equals mx plus b format, the m is the slope or the rate of change. So we're going to call this slope or rate of change. And then of course the b is the y-intercept. And this is where it crosses the y-axis. So that is the format that we are looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and erase, and we're going to know that what we're going to look at y equals mx plus b, and then we're going to graph, and then of course we're going to find x-intercept, which is also called your 0, and your y-intercept. And then once again, you got to remember that we have a graph here, and that this is your x, this is your y. The x is called domain, and y is called range. We're going to be working with that later to figure out what the domain of the graph is, and the range, what the graph is. So by looking at this, we're going to put the format of y equals mx plus b. And right here, we're going to find the slope to be 5 halves, of course with a negative. Why? Because this is already in slope format. Then after that, we are going to find our y-intercept. Our y-intercept is right here, 0, negative 5. So we already have our y-intercept. And then we're going to find our x-intercept, but we cannot see it by just looking at the graph. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on my Desmos, and I'm going to graph it. So I'm going to input the equation, y equals, and I'm going to put negative 5 divided by 2. And I'm not going to put in the x like that because then it does not graph it correctly. What I'm going to do is I can either tap right here, it puts the x, I can put the little flashing light here, or if I'm right here, I can also push this button right here, the arrow going that way, and then I input my x, and then I have my linear line, and then I'm going to input minus 5. So automatically Desmos does graph our line, and if you look at that, we have our x-intercept right there, and then we click on it. Our x-intercept or our 0 is negative 2 comma 0. So we have our y-intercept as 0 comma negative 5. We have our x-intercept as negative 2 comma 0, and we have our slope being our steepness of the line, negative 5 divided by 2, and of course we see the line going down, so we have a negative slope. If I want to find my y-intercept and I want to check to make sure I did my work right, all I do is click on the y-intercept right there where it crosses the y-axis, and it is 0 comma negative 5. So once again, that is how you find your x-intercept, y-intercept, and slope. So my second equation, and I'm going to go ahead and erase this, so then that way we can go ahead and have good space for our work. I'm going to leave my y equals mx plus b there, and then I'm going to look at my second equation. The first step I do is it in y equals mx plus b? And it is in y equals mx plus b. So I already know that my slope is right here. So my slope equals to negative 4 over 3. By looking at that, I already have my y-intercept as 0, negative 1, or negative 1 being where it crosses the y-axis, which is y equals negative 1. And then my x-intercept, I do not know. So what am I going to have to do? My trusty Desmos, I go ahead and delete this other graph. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to input this, and I'm going to put y equals negative 4/3 divided by 3. And if you see my finger, I have to push a button here. I can click here to get my x to right next to it, or I can even put the x on the top. So I'm going to put x minus 1. There's my line. My slope is negative 4/3. My y-intercept, I'm going to check it where it crosses my y-axis, 0, negative 1. And then I'm going to check my x-intercept being negative 0, negative 0.75, 0. And once again, if I don't want to see my x-intercept, I unclick it. If I don't want to see my y-intercept, I unclick it. If I just want to see my x-intercept, or my 0 is negative 0.75, 0, I click it and then I move my arrow away. So it's just a matter of learning the Desmos. If I go to number 3, it is also in y equals mx plus b. So we have this being in the format of y equals mx plus b. And to cut down on my writing, m is my slope. So I'm just going to put m equals, we're going to look at it, and it is negative 1 because there's a negative 1 in front right here. If I look at my y-intercept, I'm going to get my y-intercept as being, and I can abbreviate this by putting b, 0, 3. And then my next one, I'm going to go ahead and find my x-intercept. Okay, I need to find my x-intercept. Well, now let's put it on Desmos. But let's say I don't want to take off this graph, and I want to just put in y equals negative x plus 3. I'm just going to put y equals to negative x plus 3. And I have my two graphs there. I have my blue graph, which is the first one, and I have my second one. And that in algebra is called a system of linear equations. So looking at that system of linear equations, I can go ahead and see where they cross. And they cross at negative 12, 15. So that's my solution set. Without me even covering system of linear equations, I already know how to solve a system of linear equations. Which is a solution set. But I'm not really finding the system right now. I'm finding the x-intercept of y equals negative x plus 3. But I have two graphs here. All I have to do, if you look at this arrow right here, look at my arrow, the blue, I can unclick it and the line disappears. And now I only have the green one, so I can go ahead and find what my x-intercept is. So I want to check my y-intercept. Is it 0, 3? All I have to do is click on it, and it is 0, 3. Now I find my x-intercept, and the x-intercept is 3, 0. So that is my answer. And then of course, if I want to put my system back, I can put my system back, find my solution, find out where it crosses, and once again, I can do that. And then if I want to put in a third equation, find out where it crosses, or if it doesn't cross, then of course you can do that. Let's go to number 4. So I'm going to go ahead and delete my page. If you look at number 4, it is also in y equals mx plus b. So already my slope I know is -4. That is my steepness of the line. My y-intercept, which I abbreviate as b now, or I can put on the side y-intercept, it is going to be 0 comma -1, because that is where it crosses the y-axis. And of course x is always 0 with my y-intercept. Or you can let x equal 0. And lastly, I want to find my x-intercept. So I can only find my x-intercept by the graph. So I'm going to go ahead and come over here. I'm going to put in my graph y equals -4x minus 3. And what if I don't feel like putting in y equals -4x minus 3, and I want to make my life easier by just putting in -4x minus 1? It does work the same way. Desmos does take care of that for you. You do not have to put y equals to the equation. So you can just put y equal, you could just put in -4x minus 1, and it gives us our line. Then I forgot to take off these. I'm going to take off the color, and I'm going to take off the color. I do have my line only, -4x minus 1, which is the same thing as -4 y equals -4x. So I want to check my x-intercept. My x-intercept is 0 comma -1. So I'm going to be graphing right here 0 comma -1. So that is my answer for that. So once again, that is y equals mx plus b if it is in that format, but there's sometimes that you are not going to have that format. You're going to be looking at transitioning into y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to go ahead and erase it. Why is it important to put in y equals mx plus b? It's important to put it in y equals mx plus b because Desmos does all the work for you. You can find your x-intercept, you can find your y-intercept, you can find your slope, and you can find everything by this equation. But sometimes if you have an equation like this, if you look at number 5, 2x minus y equals 1, it's not in y equals mx plus b. So you have to transition it into y equals mx plus b, because on the star version, if you try to input 2x minus y equals 1, you can see that it gives you an error. And what does it say on the error? It doesn't graph it. Plotting implicit equations and inequalities is disabled. So that is the downfall of our Desmos calculator, that it will only graph y equals mx plus b. So that means every single equation we do have to transition it to the y equals mx plus b. So what we're going to be doing next, which is part of the lesson, I'm going to put my Desmos away. I'm going to put my Google away, and I'm going to enlarge this screen. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be transitioning our equations into the y equals mx plus b. So just like we did before we solved equations, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to be isolating the y because I want to get it into the y equals mx plus b right here. So I'm going to be doing my railroad tracks, and I want to get rid of that positive 2 right here. So how do I get rid of positive 2? I'm going to do minus 2x to this side, and then I'm going to do minus 2x to this side. And then after that, I'm going to get rid of it because of that positive and negative. Positive 2x minus 2x is 0. And then I'm left with a negative y on this side equals to negative 2x plus 1. And then I would see, okay, it's starting to look like my y equals mx plus b, but it's not my y equals mx plus b because it has a negative y there. So like I know before, I have my imaginary 1 there. I'm going to get rid of the y, so I'm going to divide both sides by -1. So I'm going to divide this by -1. I'm going to divide this by -1, and I'm going to divide this by -1. And of course, you can use your Desmos to divide all this. -1 divided by -1 is, of course, 1. So that gives me y equals 2x. A positive and a negative gives me a -1. So and a negative divided by a negative gives me a +1. So now I have it in the y equals mx plus b. Now I already know my slope equals to 2 and my y-intercept equals to 0 comma negative 1, just by transitioning the equation to y equals mx plus b. And then of course I need to find my 0 or my x-intercept. And once again, you got to know what 0 is and you got to know what x-intercept is. It's practically the same thing, but I don't have that. I'm going to go ahead and put the graph. If I go to number 5, that one is not into y equals mx plus b. So once again, I'm going to do the same work. I'm going to do my railroad tracks, and I'm going to come back to that equation when I do my Desmos graphing to find my x-intercept. I'm going to circle this, and I got to be very careful to circle the positive 2x. Right here is a positive x. I want to get rid of positive x, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract x from both sides. And then of course I like to draw my line so I can separate my work. A positive x and a negative x go away. That gives me a 2y is equal to, I do my x right here. You can't combine the x and the negative 8 because it's chicken and a duck. So then I have my negative x, and if I feel better, I want to put my negative 1x, it's the same exact thing, minus x. Minus 8, I mean. Now, I do not have the y equals mx plus b, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide everything by 2, divide everything by 2, divide everything by 2. Why am I going to divide it by 2? Because it's the opposite of multiplication. So now I have my y equals to negative 1/2 x minus 4. And if you don't believe me, then you input it into a Desmos, and then the Desmos will do the work for you. Now I'm going to go ahead and solve my answers. I have my slope being m, and my slope is negative 1/2. Just by looking at it right here, because now it is my y equals mx plus b. My y-intercept, or my b, is 0 comma negative 4. And then I'm also going to find, I have my y-intercept, I have that. I'm also going to find my x-intercept. And pretty much I'm going to find my 0, which is the same exact thing. So that is that one. And let me go ahead and add a line so I can separate here, so you can kind of get the idea of what that is. I'm going to go to number 7, and I'm also going to solve for the y, because of course you cannot put this implicit equation into the equation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw my railroad tracks. I'm going to circle my positive 3y, and then I want to get rid of this positive 8x. How do I get rid of positive 8x? I subtract 8x from both sides. I draw my line because I don't want to confuse myself. I have a positive and a negative 8x. Get rid of that. Gives me 3y equals to negative 8x minus 9. Then I have my 3y equals negative 8x minus 9. I do not have my y equals mx plus b yet. This is the format that I'm looking for. It's that pesky 3 that I want to get rid of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by 3. But if I divide this side by 3, I have to divide this by 3, and I have to divide everything on that side by 3. So then I'm going to get rid of 3 divided by 3, gives me y equals to, and then I keep the negative 8/3 x, and then negative 9 divided by 3, and put it into the Desmos, and it will give me negative 3. Now by looking at that, I do have my y equals mx plus b in that format. So I'm going to draw my line so I can separate my work. My m is equal to, just by looking at this, it's equal to negative 8/3. Then I have my b, which is my y-intercept, is right here. It's 0 comma negative 3. And then I have my slope. My slope is negative 8/3. I have my y-intercept as being 0 comma negative 3, and then I want to find my x-intercept or my 0. And how do I find my x-intercept and my 0? I just go to the graph and I plot it. Now that I have this, I do have my y equals mx plus b, and we're going to be plotting at the end. So we have number 4, number 8. That's not in y equals mx plus b. So what I want is I want it to look like y equals mx plus b, because then Desmos can do it for us. So I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to go ahead and do my railroad tracks, and then I'm going to circle my 5y, because I want to get it into this format right here. So I want to circle my 5y. I want to get rid of positive 4x, so I'm going to 4x to the side, and then I'm going to 4x to this side. I'm going to get rid of that, and I like to draw my line to separate it. I'm going to put 5y equals to negative 4x minus 10. And then I'm not in y equals mx plus b because that 5 is in the way, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both sides by the opposite of multiplication is division to get rid of the 5. And I'm going to divide by 5, and I'm going to divide by 5. So that gives me 5 divided by 5 is y by itself equals negative 4/5 x minus negative 10 divided by 5 is negative 2. And now I don't know how to do that. I input it into my decimals. And so then now I have my format as y equals mx plus b. So then I can draw my line right here, and then I'm going to put my slope. My slope is negative 4/5. I'm going to find my y-intercept, which is my b. It is 0, negative 2. And then I'm going to find my 0, which is my x-intercept when I graph it. So that is how to solve the different type of equations, and you put them into y equals mx plus b. So let's do a couple more. Number 9. So we have another one that is not in y equals mx plus b. So we have this. We want to isolate the negative y. And we want to get rid of the positive x. One of the items to get rid of positive x, I'm going to go ahead and subtract x. And make sure I'm doing the right one because it did skip a little. 7, 8, yeah, I'm on 9. So I'm going to go ahead and solve for I want to get negative y by itself. And then I'm going to solve for the x, and I'm going to subtract x, but I got to do it to both sides, like that. Going to get rid of this. Gives me a negative y equals to negative x minus 2. And if I want to put the negative 1 in front of it, I'm okay to put the negative 1 in front of it. Then I almost, and then of course I put my negative 1 in front of it. And I'm almost at y equals mx plus b, because this is what I want to be at. Y equals mx plus b. I have that pesky negative 1 there, so I'm going to divide by negative 1, going to divide by negative 1, going to divide by negative 1, negative 1 divided by negative 1, cancels out. Y equals to negative 1 divided by negative 1 is a positive 1x, or I can just put x by itself. Negative 2 divided by negative 1 is a positive 2. I have my y equals mx plus b. I have my equation here, and now I can figure out what my slope is. My slope equals, and I'm going to do my line so I can separate it. My slope is 1 by looking at this right here. My y-intercept is 0, 2 by looking at this right here. And then, of course, my x-intercept, or my 0, is a number, which I'm going to have to graph this. Once again, you cannot graph number 9 because it's not in the y equals mx plus b. The calculator Desmos does not allow us to do that under the star version. And I'm going to look at number 10, another number 10. And then I'm going to do 2 more after this. And then we're going to go back and we're going to graph them. And then we're going to plot the systems of linear equations. So implicitly, we can't put this into the equation. And not really even knowing systems of linear equations, we're going to be able to find solution sets of both equations. So if we look at 4x minus 3y equals 9, I want to solve for this. I'm going to do my railroad tracks. Y equals mx plus b is the format that the calculator loves. So I want to get rid of this 4x. How do I get rid of the 4x? I subtract 4x from that side. But what I do to one side of the railroad, I have to do to the other side. So a 4x and a negative 4x, I'm going to draw my line to organize, is 0. Then I'm left with 3y. Bring down my equal sign down the railroad track, and then I'm going to write it in negative 4x plus 9. Because remember, I want to get it into the y equals mx plus b. The next step is I want to isolate the y by itself. So I get rid of it. This is multiplication. I divide both sides by negative 3, but I have to do everything on this side by negative 3. Then I get rid of that. So then my y equals to negative 4/3. A negative divided by negative is a positive. Put it on decimals and it agrees with me. And then I do a positive 9 and a negative 3. When you divide, it's going to be a negative 3. And of course, if you don't believe me, you can go ahead and put it on decimals. So y equals to negative 4/3. That last step is to find my slope of this equation. M equals to 4/3. This line should be going upwards the mountain. So you already know that the line is going that way, like this, because the slope is positive. Then you have your y-intercept. And my y-intercept is 0, negative 3. Just by looking at this right here without graphing it. So I have my slope as 4/3, a positive slope, a y equals 0, negative 3. And then I have my 0, or my x-intercept, which I'm going to find by inputting this graph into my decimals. And the last two I'm going to do is I'm going to do 11 and 12, and then we're going to start doing some graphing on the decimals calculator. So once again, it's an implicit form, 3x plus 2y equals 6, or it is in the ax plus 2y BC format that we can't put. So once again, I want to put it into the y equals mx plus b, so I can graph. So what am I going to do? I'm going to circle my 2. Don't forget to get that positive 2. I'm going to draw my railroad tracks. I want to get rid of positive 3x right here. This is a positive 3x. So how do I get rid of positive 3x? I'm going to subtract 3x because it is the opposite. But if I do negative 3x to this side, I have to do negative 3x to that side. I draw my line. I get rid of positive and negative because that is a 0. I bring down the 2y equals to a negative 3x plus 6. And why don't I put 6 plus negative 3x? Because I want to get it in y equals mx plus b. The next step, I'm not there at the y equals mx plus b, so the next step, if I look at that, that's a multiplication. Opposite of multiplication is divide. I'm going to divide that side by 2, but what I do it on one side, I have to do it to the other side, and since there are two terms, I got to divide them both by 2. 2 divided by 2 is just 1 by itself, so that gives you y equals to negative 3/2 x plus 3. So y equals negative 3/2 x plus 3. Now I have it in y equals mx plus b. I'm going to come to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and put my answers here. So my slope, which is my m, is negative 3/2. My y-intercept, which is my y-intercept, and then I'm going to change colors right here, is 0, negative 3. No, not negative 3. Positive 3, sorry. And then I have my slope, I have my y-intercept, and then I'm going to find my x-intercept. And my x-intercept, I do not know. I'm going to have to graph it. Now I have it in y equals mx plus b, and I can go ahead and graph it. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there. I'm going to do one more. Sorry. I have to do my number 12 so I can have a system with two of them combined. So once again, I'm going to put it in y equals mx plus b. The first step is to isolate this negative 5y. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to get rid of positive 4x because he doesn't want to be there. So I'm going to subtract 4x from that side, and then I'm going to subtract 4x from this side. Okay, this one's going to be an interesting one because again, it has a positive 0. I can be okay and leave a positive 0. It's nothing. So this is going to be a real interesting one because I'm going to draw my line. A positive and a negative gives me a 0. It leaves me negative 5y, and then I want to put it in the y equals mx plus b. So it is going to be negative 4x plus 0. And I don't really have to put it plus 0, but if you want to put plus 0, it's okay. You can put it. And then I'm going to divide this by negative 5 to get it into y equals mx plus b, but then I have to divide this by negative 5, divide this by negative 5. And negative 5 divided by 5 is y, which is 1y. Negative 4 divided by 5 is negative 4 divided by 5 is positive. So we're going to do 4/5. If you don't believe me, put in your Desmos, and Desmos will agree with me. And of course, positive 0 divided by negative 5 is going to be positive 0, because 0 divided by negative 5 is 0. And if you look at this equation, it's y equals mx plus b. I have this, but I want to simplify it a little further. I can, and I can put y equals to 4/5 x. And that is the same exact thing. You want to find your y-intercept, you already have it. You want to find your slope, you already have it, and it's the same exact thing. So let's do both of them. So let me switch colors to black, and then I'm going to find right here on the side, I'm going to find my slope, and I'm going to find my y-intercept. So right here, by looking at this and looking at this, I find my slope as being m equals to 4/5. Then I find my y-intercept being at 0, comma 0 is my y-intercept. And then I want to find my 0 and or my so-called x-intercept, and then I'm going to find my line. So once again, that is how you transition into the y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to go up to my first couple of equations right here that I solved, and I'm going to look at number 5 and I'm going to look at number 6. Those are the two that I'm going to deal with, 5 and 6. So now I'm going to not only be able to graph these two systems because I figured out the y equals mx plus b, I'm going to be able to find my zeros, and I'm going to pretend that these two are systems, and I'm going to find an equation where they cross. So we're going to figure out where they cross and where they meet. So first step, I'm going to find my 0 on number 5, and then we're going to play around with number 5 and number 6. So I was not able to find my 0. I was able to find my slope. I was able to find my y-intercept, but I was not able to find my 0. How did I find slope? My slope is right here. How do I find my y-intercept? My y-intercept is right here, but I was not able to find 0. Now Desmos can graph this calculator. So let me get on my trusted Desmos and get my Desmos right here. And again, it cannot plot this implicit equation, but no longer can I have that issue because I already have it in y equals mx plus b. So since I'm going to be finding a system of solution, a solution to the system, I'm going to be putting the first number 5 on number 1 and number 2 on number 6. So first of all, I want to start off with finding the 0, and I want to check my work to make sure I did it correctly. So I'm going to put, I don't have to put y equals 2x minus 1, but if I want to, I can, equals 2x minus 1. And now you see that Desmos has done it for us. So now I want to check my y-intercept where it crosses my y-axis and is 0, negative 1. Guess what? We did the correct work. We checked it. And then now I'm going to take this away and I'm going to check that 0, negative 5. I mean 0.5 comma 0. That is my 0, and that is my x-intercept. So not only do I have that, I have my y-intercept, I have my x-intercept. If you don't know where, I can manipulate this graph, and I can even go further and I can zoom in, and that is my x-intercept for this equation. So the first one that we were not able to do, now we can do it. Why? Because we have it in y equals mx plus b. The next one that we're doing, okay, we were not able to plot this one, and I'm going to leave this one alone. leave it there, and I'm going to plot this one on the second one. So I'm going to get on my Desmos, and I'm going to plot my y equals mx plus b there. No commercials. I'm going to go ahead and plot this one on my Desmos. So I'm going to put it on right here, and I'm going to put y equals to negative 1 divided by 2. And then I want to get my x. I'm going to click right here, or I can push this button right here. I'm going to go ahead and put my x, and then I'm going to put my minus 4. So as you can see, this graph you have, and I'm going to shrink this so we can find the blue graph. So as you can see, we have our system where it crosses already. We know the second answer is going to be our system, but I'm interested in only y equals negative 1/2 x minus 4. So I don't want to use this one, so all I have to do is click the red, and it disappears. So once again, I want to find my x-intercept and I want to find my y-intercept, but I want to check my work to make sure it's correct. So I'm going to find, first of all, my y-intercept. It is 0, comma negative 4. Click on it. It stays there, 0, comma negative 4. Let me check my work. What's my y-intercept? 0, comma negative 4. Yes, we did it correctly. Is my line going down because it's a negative slope? Yes, it's going down. Is my x-intercept? What is my x-intercept? So then I go back to my graph and I find my x-intercept. And my x-intercept is negative 8, comma 0. That is where it crosses my y-axis. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to check, is it 0, comma negative 8? And I'm going to click on it again, negative 8, comma 0. So that right there is my x-intercept or my 0. And now I have my x-intercept, I have my y-intercept, and then I have my slope. I have my slope already there. Is it a negative slope? It's going down. Then I'm going to get rid on the Desmos. I'm going to get rid of this one, and I'm going to put this one, and I'm going to go back to this one and check my slope. My slope is a positive 2. Is it going up the slope, the red line? Yes. So my next question to you is, now we can plot systems of linear equations. We have our two systems. We have number 5, we have number 6. And what a system of linear equations is just by understanding that you can convert them into y equals mx plus b. Now, where they cross and where they meet is called your solution, or sometimes they like to call it solution set. That is the answer where they cross, where they meet. So we're going to find out, sometimes systems have no solution, sometimes they have one solution, and sometimes they have infinite many solutions. So we're going to check the system and we're going to see if it meets or it doesn't meet. So we're going to go ahead and shrink it, and we're going to upgrade this one. And looking at that, I'm going to just push this blue button right there. And both systems are there. And then I'm going to find my solution. Where do they cross? Where do they meet? They cross at negative 1.2 and 3/4. So I have my y equals 2x. Let me just make sure that I did it correctly on the good notes. And I'm going to shrink it. So I'm going to look at this one, and I'm going to say 2x minus y equals 1. Yeah, I have it correct. Then I come over here, and I have my... Okay, wait. Yeah, I did it correctly. Y equals negative 1/2 x minus 4, and then 2x minus 1. Okay, so my solution set, just by looking at this, I'm going to look at where they cross, and they cross at negative 1.2, comma, negative 3.4. So not covering the lesson of systems, just by knowing that I can use Desmos, I get my solution set as where they cross and where they meet. So that is my solution to my system. But our concept that we're learning slope, we're learning y-intercept, and we are learning a 0. So I'm good with these, so I'm going to go ahead and take these out. I'm going to go on to number 7. I'm going to get my x-intercept for number 7, and then I'm going to get my x-intercept for number 8, and then I'm going to find my solution set for both of them. So then I'm going to abbreviate it by that, SS, solution set for both of them. So it can have one solution, I can have one solution, no solution, or infinite many solutions. So then what is one solution? One solution is when they meet at a certain line and they are equal. So they'll eventually meet at one line, and of course their slopes have to be different. If you have no solution, then they're parallel, their slopes have to be the same. And if you have infinite many solutions, then they are on top of each other. So I'm going to go ahead and plot number 8 onto Desmos to see what it gives us. So I'm going to be putting in y equals to negative 8 divided by 3. Then I put the arrow, going to put the x, then I'm going to put minus 3. And then I get my y-intercept 0, 3. We did it correctly, so we are right. Our slope is a negative 8/3, so it is a negative slope. It's going down the hill, so we are right. The next one is our x-intercept, or our 0. So we're going to find out where it crosses. So I am going to expand it a little, and we're going to find out where it crosses our x-axis. So it crosses at negative 1.125. And let me double check to make sure it's correct. Yes, it is. So it is, the order pair is negative 1.125, comma 0. And of course, you know that 1.25 is probably a fraction that we've done before. So looking at that, we have our x-intercept, we have our y-intercept, we are checking, we are good. So then we have that one. So let me go ahead and draw a black line that we did it. Now I'm going to go on to this one, and I'm going to find my slope, and I'm going to go ahead and input my y equals mx plus b, which is this one, into my Desmos. So I'm going to put y equals to negative 4 divided by 5. Next I can tap right here, or I can put this arrow right here. I'm going to put my x minus 2. And then I have my system. You see my system, but all I want to do is work with this one first. So I get rid of that one. Get rid of the green. I'm going to come over here. I have my slope as being negative 4/5. I check it. It is going down. Then I have my b, which is my y-intercept, as being 0, negative 2. I check it. It is correct. I get rid of it. Now I'm going to find my x-intercept where it crosses the x-axis. So I'm going to get rid of that. My x-intercept, I'm going to find it. And then it is negative 2.5, comma 0. So this is my x-intercept, or my so-called 0. If I want to put 0 as being negative 2.5, or x equals, well, pretty much negative 2.5, then it is correct. Looking at this, I have now my system of linear equations. I have my system as being over here, y equals negative 8/3 x minus 3. And I have my system being negative 4/5 minus 2. So then all I'm going to do is get back on my Desmos, is I'm going to graph them. And then now I have my solution set. My solution set is that one. So I'm not going to write all those decimals. I'm going to go ahead and just write them as negative 0.53 comma negative 1.57143. Well, I ended up writing the decimals. So that right there is my solution set of my system. How much work did it take for us to do a system of linear equations? Pretty much no work, other than inputting it into Desmos in the y equals mx plus b format. So once again, we learned how to solve this, the transform it into y equals mx plus b, and we also were able to solve the system. So now we're going to go to our last 4. So of course we have this one where we got our slope as being 1. our y-intercept as being 0, 2. So I'm already done with this one on Desmos. I'm going to go ahead and input the y equals 1x plus 2. And if I don't want to put y equals to make it faster, I can do this. And I can put 1x plus 2. Desmos will do it for you. I want to check my slope. It's a positive slope right here. It is correct. Then I want to check my y-intercept. So where's my y-intercept? That is correct. And then I want to find my x-intercept. My x-intercept is right here. And my x-intercept is negative 2, 0. So that is my x-intercept. I'm going to go to my second system of equations, which is my system of linear equations. And I'm going to not input this one. I'm going to input my solved y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to put it right here. And I don't feel like putting y equals. It's okay. You don't have to put it. So I'm going to put 4 divided by 3. I'm going to put the right here dot right there. X minus 3. And then I'm going to find, I want to just work with this one. So I'm going to get rid of this one. And then I'm going to check that my x-intercept, my slope is positive first. It is a positive slope. It's going up the hill. Then I go to my y-intercept. My y-intercept is right here, 0, negative 3. My work is correct. Then I want to find my x-intercept, and my x-intercept is right there, negative 2.25, comma 0. So I have that. I have my x-intercept, I have my y-intercept, and I have my slope being positive 4/3. Now I want to find a solution set of both of these systems of linear equations. So I'm finding my solution set, which is my answer, which is where they meet. So they have different slopes, so they are going to have a meeting point. So all I'm going to do is go back to Desmos, and then I'm going to put this right here, and then I'm going to see where it crosses, where it meets. I'm going to find it. So then all I have to do is manipulate Desmos, and it should stay. So my solution set is 15, 17. And that right there is my answer to my system of linear equations. So once again, when you deal with systems of linear equations, they're probably not going to give it to you in y equals mx plus b. You're going to have to transform both equations, and then you're going to have to input them on Desmos and find the solution set. This is all they're looking for, where they cross and where they meet. Let's go on to our last one, number 11 and number 12. We have our y equals mx plus b transformation, which is equal to y equals negative 3 halves x plus 3. So once again, I'm done with this system. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of them. I'm going to put y equals to negative 3 divided by 2 x. Not the correct one. So I have to see, okay, where did I make the mistake? I go back and delete it. I did not click on the arrow. X plus 3. So if I look at that, my line is not here, and I'm going to panic. Where's my line? Where's my line? So I'm going to go over here, and I'm just going to enlarge it, and I'm going to move it around, and I find my line. My slope is a negative. It is going down, so that is correct. My x-intercept, or my 0, is 2, 0, and my y-intercept is 0, 3. For it being a fraction, it's a very clean fraction. So that is amazing right there. I have my y-intercept being 0, 3, and then I have my x-intercept as being 2, 0. So I'm going to come to Desmos, and I'm going to say, well, was my y-intercept correct? I'm going to check it. 0, 3. Yes, it is. It is correct. Then I'm going to go to Desmos, and I'm going to find my x-intercept. My x-intercept, or my 0, is 2, 0. So that is my x-intercept. So of course, at the end, I want to find my system of linear equations. I'm going to go to number 12, and I'm going to figure out what my x-intercept is. So I'm not going to delete this one. I'm going to leave it here, and I'm going to input my y equals 4x, or I can input y equals 4x plus 0. All of them work. So I don't want to put the y. I just want to put the x. I can just start right here, 4x plus 0. I can do that too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do 4 divided by 5 arrow x plus 0, and that gives me my system of linear equations. But right now I just want to deal with the green one, so I get rid of the blue one. So I have my 4/5 x plus 0. I want to check that it's a positive slope. It is going up, so it is correct. I want to find my y-intercept. Oh wow, it crosses at the origin, which is 0, 0, which is the one I figured out. It's 0, 0. And then I want to find my 0, and if I look at my 0, it's also going to be 0, 0. Why? Because it crosses my x-axis at 0 also. So this one's an interesting one because it's got an x-intercept of 0, it's got a y-intercept of 0, and then of course it's got a slope of 4/5. Now I put both of them back on the graph, and I find out where they cross, where they meet, and that is my answer, and I'm going to abbreviate it when I find my solution set. This time I don't want to write the whole answer. So my answer to this solution set between these two systems of linear equations, my solution set, it's going to be negative 1.30, and I'm abbreviating it. Well, it's not a negative, it is a positive. So decimals does do everything for you, but sometimes human error, you don't put it correctly, and that's where you get the answer wrong. So that's why it's always important to go and double check. So it is 1.30 comma 1.04. So that right there is the system of linear equations, and this is right where it crosses. So once again, in a system, you are going to have a solution, you're going to have no solution, or you're going to have infinite many solutions. So once again, I hope this has helped everyone. We did a lot today. We did transformation of y equals mx plus b. We solved, not only did we find slope, we find y-intercept, we found the x-intercept, and we also found our slope. Slope, y-intercept, and our 0. Sorry, we found our 0. So we got to two systems, and we were able to come up with a solution. So where they cross, where they meet is their solution. So I want everyone to have an amazing day, and thank you for being here with me.